Sophie became sad because she could convince neither her father nor her mother nor even her younger brother about opening a boutique. And finally she thought of meeting her elder brother Geoff because she believed that he is the one who will understand her better, who will possibly come to support her. Let us see something on the back, the thing that we did in the first video, in the earlier video. You might have noticed that there is a sentence called like, she thinks money grows on trees, don't she, Dad? This don't she, this is what Derek said to his father about Geoff. But grammatically speaking, this don't she is wrong, we all know. It should be doesn't she. But such things you will find in many cases in this story because these are their colloquial speech. Colloquial, I mean, this is their way they speak at home. So when they speak at home, it is not the formal or grammatically correct language. They speak with a lot of mistakes, with a lot of uses that in formal English we don't think these are acceptable. Such more examples you will find next. And then we got to know about Sophie's mother's condition, that her back was crooked. This crooked means something that is not straight. A crooked back means that if you become your health is very poor, you are not strong, then you cannot stand straight. Her back was crooked like this, and this woman had to do all those household activities, and apron string that she was using, this apron string was tightened by a bow. They did not match. All these things indicate their poor financial condition. They could not afford to buy things properly, and the woman had to do all the household activities and other things like Geoff's father's physical condition, etc. All these things show that they are poor people. And now we see that Sophie, having been failed to convince her father, mother and younger brother about opening the boutique, she now goes to meet her elder brother Geoff. He was kneeling on the floor in the next room, tinkering with a part of his motorcycle over some newspaper spread on the carpet. He was kneeling, K-N-W-E-L, kneel. This is the part. Its noun is knee. Knee is the part of the body, the joint between your shin and your thigh, that is called knee. And verb is near, it means to place your knee on the floor, to do something with your knee on the floor. So this means that Geoff was very busy in working. What was he working? What was he doing? He was kneeling on the floor in the next room, tinkering with a part of his motorcycle. Tinkering. Tinker means repair. Tinker means repair. So his motorcycle, he was repairing his motorcycle, and while doing it, he kneeled on the floor. And while he was doing it, tinkering with a part of his motorcycle over some newspaper spread on the carpet. There was carpet. On the carpet there was a newspaper, and on the newspaper there were some parts of his motorcycle, and he was repairing them. He was 3 years out of school. He left school 3 years ago, and he is now working. And he is an apprentice mechanic. The word apprentice we got earlier in the last lesson. Apprentice is a person who is still learning. He is working under some senior person. He is still learning the job, and he is not equally paid like a full-fledged workman. That is an apprentice. So this Geoff, he was 3 years out of school. He left school 3 years ago, and we know the financial condition of the family. Possibly he had to leave study also. And then he is working as an apprentice mechanic, traveling to his work each day to the far side of the city. He used to go to a very distant place every day, riding on his motorcycle, to work in a factory, to work in a mechanic's shop, where he works as an apprentice mechanic. He was almost grown up now, and she suspected areas of his life about which she knew nothing, about which he never spoke. So since her brother, Geoff, now you will get in this paragraph a long description of Geoff's nature and also Sophie's relation with her brother. Actually, Sophie went to meet him, to talk to him, to tell him about her intention to start a boutique. But the author is telling us, he is giving us a detailed account of Geoff and their relation, his relation with his sister, and what they actually talked. This will come a bit later. Here is a description of Geoff's nature, his personality, that he was almost grown up now, and she suspected areas of his life about which she knew nothing. Geoff suspected, Sophie suspected that her brother always, every day he goes to a far off place, he goes on the motorcycle, and actually Geoff is someone who is working for the family, he is earning money, he is working a lot, and he knows the reality of life. But Sophie, since she is always daydreaming, she does not realize what kind of life her brother is living, what kind of hardship he is undergoing. And she thinks that he goes every day to the distant place on his motorcycle, he must be enjoying a lot, he must be meeting new people, he must be getting a lot of happiness in their company. So she suspected areas of his life about which she knew nothing, about which he never spoke. This boy, Geoff, when he comes home, he does not speak a lot about how his job is, what kind of people he meets. He shares nothing with the family, he shares nothing with her. So she suspects about the areas of his life about which she knows nothing, about which he does not say anything. He said little at all, ever, voluntarily. This was Geoff's nature, that he spoke little. Voluntarily means willingly. He never spoke anything willingly. Willingly he spoke very little. Words had to be prized out of him like stones out of the ground. If you want to find out some very precious stone from the ground, you have to work a lot, you have to dig the ground and then find out, and then you have to know which stone is for what purpose, which stone is really valuable and which one is not. So it is a difficult job. The same difficulty is there if you want to take words from the mouth of Geoff. That words have to be prized out of him. The word prize is used here as a verb. The words have to be prized out of him like stones out of the ground. Taking some words from the mouth of Geoff is as difficult as finding out stones on the ground, identifying stones on the ground. And he is such a boy that he speaks very little, and the word prize is used to mean, for example, getting a prize is also not that easy a thing. You have to work hard and then only you can get a prize. The same is the case. Such difficulty is there in having a talk with Geoff and getting something in the form of words from his mouth. And she was jealous of his silence. So he was jealous of Geoff's silence. She wanted that let him speak, let him talk, tell us about the kind of life he lives, about the kind of job he does, about the kind of people he meets. But he speaks nothing, and this silence of Geoff makes Sophie jealous. She thinks he might have been enjoying a lot every day and he is not telling us anything, he is hiding all his happiness from us. These are actually unwanted thoughts. People who are never happy, they always think about other people's personal life, how he works, how he does, where he goes, what he does, why he does not do it. They are little concerned about their life, they are little concerned about reality, they unnecessarily think about other people's activities. This is what Sophie is. She is unnecessarily thinking about Geoff's entertainment, his happiness, and by this she is making her own life unhappy. When he wasn't speaking, it was as though he was away somewhere, out there in the world in those places she had never been. Whether they were only the outlying districts of the city or places beyond in the surrounding country, who knew? Whenever Geoff does not speak, he remains silent. Sophie thinks that at that moment, and during that time of silence, he must have been thinking about those people he meets. He must be thinking about the places that he visits, the workplace where he works. He must be thinking about those things. This is what she thinks. And what are those places that according to Sophie, Geoff will be thinking about? They might be outlying districts. Outlying district means the adjoining areas, the nearby areas, or there may be places far away from them, whether it is a nearby place or a far off place, whatever it is. But she thinks whenever Geoff is silent, he must be thinking about those places. They attained a special fascination simply because they were unknown to her and remained out of her reach. Sophie is such a girl that she has dreams, and she always does daydreaming, and she thinks that there are people, there are areas, there are places. I have never been to those places. My brother always goes there. So they must have been very nice places. They must have been very nice people. So these people, those places really fascinates her. They attract her. She wants to be in those places. Perhaps there were also people, exotic. Exotic means unusual. Exotic people are there. Those places where, so we think those places where I could not visit, which I could not visit. Those places where my brother goes every day. Those places must be full of people, exotic people, unusually nice people, wonderful people, strange people are there, interesting people of whom he never spoke. It was possible though he was quiet and did not make new friends easily. Quiet. This word quiet also you got earlier. Q-U-I-E-T. Then you have Q-U-I-T-E. Then you have Q-U-I-T. You have to know these three very carefully. Quiet. Its pronunciation is quiet. Quiet means silent. And this is quiet. This means enough. This quiet you can use in a sentence like this. My sister speaks very little. She wants to remain quiet all the time. I cannot remain quiet. I love speaking. This is quiet. And quiet means, for example, the patient is quite well now. I am quite happy. Quiet means fully. And this is quit. Quit means leave. You remember Quit India movement? It means the British were told to quit our country, to leave our country. Quit means leave, abandon, depart. So this is quiet that we have got now. That though he was quiet and didn't make new friends easily, so we think that maybe her brother meets new people. There are very wonderful people are there about whom he never speaks to, speak with us, and she thinks that those people whom he meets, she again thinks that her brother is not that friendly. He cannot easily make friends. That is one nature of Geoff that she knows, and still she suspects that he must have been meeting new people and talking to them, and she longs to know them. The word long is used here as a verb. We know the word long is usually an adjective. Long. It is an adjective usually. This is what comes to our mind. This is a long way. There is a long line of people. But this long is verb. This long means to eagerly wait. For example, you were in a hostel and for many months you could not go home, so you were longing to visit your home. He is longing to meet his friends. It means he is eagerly waiting to meet his friends. She longs to know them. Those people whom she thinks Geoff always meets and he talks, but she has never heard about them. She has never met them. In her imagination, she thinks there is a world, there are people whom my brother meets every day. He enjoys their company. She longs to meet them. She waits eagerly to meet those people. She wished she could be admitted more deeply into her brother's affections and that someday he might take her with him. Though their father forbade it, so she thinks that she wished that her brother should love her more and one day he should offer her to take her for an outing. So come with me and let us go and enjoy. This he should say. She wanted it. Though their father forbade it. Forbade is the past form of forbid. Forbade, and then forbidden. Forbid means to prohibit. Forbid means to prohibit, means not to allow. If your father says no, you cannot go, it means he is prohibiting you from going, he is forbidding you from going. So once she expressed her willingness to accompany her brother and to see those places, but her father, he said no, he forbade. And Geoff had never expressed an opinion. When her father said no, you should not go like that, Geoff was neutral. He did not say why she should go with me. Neither he said, okay fine, you are right, she should not go. He did not give any opinion. She knew he thought her too young, but Sophie thinks that in Geoff's view, Sophie is still a very small girl, so she should not be taken on his bike and taken out there for a trip. And she was impatient. Impatient means one who has no patience, one who is not, who cannot control her emotions. she was impatient. She was conscious of a vast world out there waiting for her, and she knew instinctively means naturally, that she would feel as at home there, as in the city which had always been her home. She was really eagerly waiting to visit those places and meet those people, and she was aware, she was conscious, she was aware of a very large world, a very vast world, a very vast region where and they are waiting for her, and she imagines that the place in itself waits for her to visit it, that the place is waiting for my arrival, for my visit. And she naturally knows that she would feel at home. Feel at home means to feel comfortable. That the way I feel comfortable at my own native home, the same comfort I'll enjoy if I visit that new place. This is what she thinks about that place. It expectantly awaited her arrival. She imagined that place, the place which she has never visited, the place which her brother always visits, the place which she is longing to visit, she believes that those places are actually waiting for her arrival. The place itself is waiting for her to go there. She saw herself riding there behind Geoff. She imagined, in her world of imagination, in her daydreaming, she visualizes that she sits behind her brother on the motorbike, and then he rides and she is sitting behind him. He wore new shining black leathers, that he was wearing cloth made of leather. It was new and shining and black, and she a yellow dress with a kind of cape that flew out behind, and she was wearing yellow dress and with a cape, C-A-P-E, cape. It is not cap, it is cape. Cape means a long dress, like a gown, that she will wear, that will be of yellow color, and she will sit behind her brother, and when the motorcycle will start going, then the wind will have its impact on their body, and her long cape will start flowing. It will start flowing. He wore new shining black leathers, and she a yellow dress with a kind of cape that flew out behind. There was a sound of applause as the world rose to greet them. This is her imagination, that as they will be moving, and the people from all those places, from their homes in all those places, will come out of their house, and they will start applauding. They will start giving them shabash, yes, welcome to our place. This is what she thinks those people will do. So this is the description of Geoff, his nature, and the kind of relation that Sophie has with her brother, the kind of relation that she wants to have with her brother. And now come to the point where she actually went to meet him when she failed to convince her father, mother and younger brother about opening a boutique. He sat frowning at the oily component he cradled in his hands. What was Geoff doing at that time? We found that he was repairing his motorcycle. He sat frowning. Frowning means expressing unhappiness. When your forehead loses its smoothness, and you show your expression on your forehead as if you are not happy with something. So when do we do it? When you are doing a job and you find it difficult, you cannot complete it, you cannot solve the problem, then this mark of unhappiness is visible on your face, or especially on your forehead. This is what happened to Geoff, that he said frowning at the oily component he cradled in his hand. Cradle, C-R-A-D-L-E, cradle means to take care of something. A mother cradles her baby. It means a mother takes care of her baby. Here, what was Geoff taking care of? He cradled in his hand the oily component, the motor parts, the parts of the motorcycle that he was repairing. He took it in his hand and he was cradling. It means he was looking at it very carefully, as if it was something he took a lot of care, as though it were a small dumb animal and he was willing it to speak. He was taking so much care of it, and he was looking at it with so much of attention and patience, that as if it was some dumb animal that was not able to speak, and Geoff was trying to make it speak. This much of curiosity, this much of care he was taking of this part of the motorcycle. And there, at this situation, she was present there. She reached there and she told her brother, I met Danny Casey. This is another announcement. At home, before her parents, she said, when I complete my school life, I will open a boutique. And now coming to her brother, she makes a new announcement, another announcement. What is it? She said, I met Danny Casey, she said. Now the question is, he looked around abruptly. Abruptly means all of a sudden. When when he heard this thing, he looked around, looked at her out abruptly, suddenly. Where? Where did you meet him? In the arcade, funnily enough, ARCAD. Arcade means it is a passage. If you go to a mall, to a big shop, shopping complex where there are lines of shops this way, again there is a line of shop on the opposite direction. In between there is a passage. This passage is called arcade. She said that I met Danny Casey in the arcade. It was a funny situation. Geoff said, it's never true. He knows the kind of sister she is. So he immediately said, it's never true. She said, I did too. I did it. You told them, if you really have done it, if you have really met Danny, who was Danny Casey? Danny Casey was a celebrated Irish footballer. If someone comes to your home and coming, he said, I met Mahendra Singh Dhoni. People will be curious. Why did you meet it? How? And there are people who, I told you in the earlier video, there are people who have this kind of fantasy in their life. They are very good in telling lies. I met this man, I met that man, I enjoyed like this. So, people know who is like what. And here also, Geoff was very well aware of his sister's nature. And when she said that he met Danny Casey, a celebrated Irish footballer, he then asked, have you told it to father? She shook her head. Chastened. Chastened means feeling sad, feeling sorry. Why is feeling sorry? Chastened. Chastened means she was not happy with the kind of reaction that Geoff made. Chastened means unhappy or sad. Why unhappy or sad? When Geoff asked, have you told this to father? This made her unhappy because at his unawareness that he was always the first to share her secrets. That always her habit was that whenever there was a secret, whenever there was something personal in her life, she would firstly share it with him only, with Geoff only. So when she is telling Geoff this thing now, Geoff should have been aware that yes, since she is telling it to me now, she must have not spoken it to others. But when this Geoff asked her, have you told it to father, it means Geoff is not aware of this very fact that it is always he with whom I always share my secret. This made her unhappy. Then Geoff again said, I don't believe it. She is now giving a description. There I was looking at the clothes in Royce's. Royce is capital. Royce's means it is a brand name where that a brand name in the world of clothes. They manufacture clothes, and so it is a brand. There I was looking at the clothes in the Royce's window when someone came and stood beside me, and I looked around, and who should it be but Danny Casey? I was just looking at some clothes in the showroom of Royce's, and then someone stood near me, and then when I looked at him, wow, it was Danny Casey really. Then Geoff is trying to test her. He is asking, all right, what does he look like? Oh, come on, you know what he looks like. So when, in order to test her whether she really has met Danny Casey, Geoff knows it very well that she has not met Danny Casey. She has made a wild story. Still, he asks her, okay, since you have met, tell me how he looks. She said, do you know what he looks like? Geoff said, yes, I have some idea about how he looks. Then Sophie is giving a description of Danny Casey, all these false stories. She's saying, well, he has green eyes, gentle eyes, and he's not so tall as you would think. This much description she has given that about his eyes and about his height. Then she thought whether I should tell more, whether I should tell about teeth also. And she is afraid that if I continue saying more about him, all the first description I continue saying more and more, then maybe I'll caught telling lies. So she wondered if she should say about his teeth, but decided against it. At one point she thought, should I tell about his teeth also? Then she said, no, I should not tell, because if I continue saying, I may be caught telling lies. So then you will find another interesting scene in which you will find that their father is present. Their father had washed when he came in, and his face and arms were shiny and pink, and he smelled of soap. Their father has come out of the bathroom and he has taken a bath, and when you take bath and come out of the bathroom, naturally you will smell nice. So from his body some smell of soap was coming, and he switched on the television and tossed one of little Derek's shoes. Toss means throw. You are familiar with the word toss because when there is a cricket match and there is a toss at the beginning, toss means to throw something. And what did their father toss? He tossed one of little Derek's shoes. The word one, it is possibly wrongly spelled on, it should be one. Tossed one of little Derek's shoes from his chair onto the sofa and sat down with a grunt. He switched on the television, he wanted to watch television and he wanted to take his seat, and he found that one of Derek's shoes was on the chair. He took it, and then what did he do? This thing tells us about the culture of these people, what kind of standard of living they have. A small boy's shoe is on the chair. That may not be that big an offense because small boys usually may do such things. But when an elderly person, he takes it from the chair and then he again throws it on the sofa, this tells us about what kind of people they are. So he threw it on the sofa and then he sat down with a grunt. This grunt is a kind of sound that is very unpleasant sound. It is a sound that made by pigs. Here it means that this man made a very peculiar, very unpleasant sound with his mouth and he said. At that moment, Geoff announced on behalf of his sister to their father, Sophie met Danny Casey. Geoff said. We found earlier that Geoff did not even believe it when his sister told him that I met Danny Casey. He are good, and he was not ever ready to believe. But now, before their father, it is he who himself is telling this. By this, we can think that this is how they spend their time, because he knows it that their father will become very angry, and what kind of reaction he makes and what follows. He is very willing to see this kind of thing. He is interested to see the reaction of their father. That's why he is possibly telling this. When he says before their father, Sophie met Danny Casey, at that time what did Sophie do? Sophie knew that the moment their father will come to know this, he will become very angry, he will react, and she wriggled where she was sitting at the table. Wriggle means to go back and to hide. When you are not courageous enough, you are not bold enough to face the situation, you go back a little. So when her brother announced before everyone that Sophie met Danny Casey, at that moment Sophie felt uneasy, she felt uncomfortable, and she went a bit back. Her father turned his head on his thick neck. He was a thick-necked man, and he turned his face slowly like this, and he looked at his daughter to look at her. His expression was one of disdain. The way he looked at that time when he looked at his daughter, it was a look of disdain. Disdain means contempt or dislike. It means he was not at all happy with what he has come to know, because he knows it very well that his daughter has started telling a very false story, So he was not at all happy. That's why he made an expression of anger. Then Geoff supported it. Geoff said to his father, "It's true. What she said is true." Then their father said, "I once knew a man who had known Tom Finney." His father said reverently to the television, but that was a long time ago. His father did not want to give any importance, any value to this kind of talk. That's why he said, there is nothing big in it. There is nothing great in it. One person meeting another person, one person knowing another person, what is it? I also knew a man who said he knew Tom Finney. Tom Finney was a celebrated sports person of the earlier years when their father was a young man. He said, this is common. I knew someone who said he knew Tom Finney. What is the big issue here? And then when he said this, he did not look at his daughter or son. He looked at the television. And very nicely the author said, his father said, reverently means respectfully. Reverently. Reverently means respectfully or seriously. He was looking very serious. And he was talking to television. As if he was talking to television, he was looking at the TV only. And then he said this thing. And then he said, that was a long time ago. Geoff said, you told us. Yes, this story you told us earlier. Casey might be that good someday. Yeah. Danny Casey may also be a very renowned footballer one day. Then Geoff said, better than that even. He is the best. He will not only be better than, not only be like Tom Finney, he will be better than Tom Finney. He will be best out of all. Then their father said, if he keeps his head on the shoulders, if they look after him properly, a lot of distractions for a youngster in the game these days, you cannot give a guarantee. Their father is an elderly person, he has experience of life, he has seen many things, so from his perspective, he is telling these things. Just because someone has played well in some matches and he is playing well, you cannot guarantee that he will become really a very famous footballer, because it is still his beginning. If he keeps his head on the shoulders, to keep your head on the shoulder means if he continues his consistency, if he can consistently play well, if he can continue his performance better and better, he can play with the passage of time. And if they look after him properly, that means the team management. If the team management takes care of him, even the next game the team says, no, you are not included, you will not get a chance. After a few months, if he is even given a chance, he may lose his spirit, he may lose his competence, and he may not perform well. So this is the end of the story. All this experience the old man has, so he is saying that you cannot tell these things in advance, you cannot tell these things so early. There are many distractions for youngsters. For a young boy who is now still at a very early stage of his career, he cannot give all the guarantees. Any distraction may happen, and he may lose the flow of his, the tune of his performance. The son says, he will be all right. He is the best team in the country. Father said, he is very young yet. Yes, he is the best team. He is all the best, but it is still his early stage in the career. Then Geoff said, he is older than I am. Yes, he may be young, but so far as I am concerned, he is older than I. Their father said, too young really for the first team. You cannot argue with that sort of ability. So father and son were talking on this, the prospective future of Danny Casey as a footballer. At that time, what happened? Sophie was waiting for a chance, and at that time she made an interruption. From inside, she said, from the table, she said, he is going to buy a shop. Who? Danny Casey. That Danny Casey is going to buy a shop. This is the announcement made by Sophie all of a sudden. Her father grimaced. Her father, what did he do? When father and son were talking about the future of Danny Casey as a footballer, from the table, Sophie said Danny Casey is going to buy a shop. Their father grimaced. Grimace means to make an expression of, make an angry facial expression. Facial expression. He looked very angrily at his daughter. How do you know all these things? A celebrated footballer, Danny Casey, he will open a shop or not? How come you know it? He grimaced and angrily asked her, why did you hear that? Why did you know it? She said, he told me so. As if they were very close friends. He told me so. People who daydream a lot, people who live in the world of imagination, I told you earlier, they are very good in telling lies and in giving excuses. This is what she is doing. He told me so. Father became really angry and he muttered something inaudible. Mutter means to pronounce something, to speak something that is not distinct. Anyone cannot easily hear it. It means he was angry and he was expressing his anger using those inaudible words. And he dragged himself round in his chair. He took his seat in the chair and then he said, this another of your wild stories. This another of your wild stories. It means this is another story, another wild story, another unwanted nonsense talk you have started. And then again you see, Geoff is still, he is trying to make a funny situation. He is apparently showing his sympathy and his support to his sister, and he is saying, she met him in the arcade. Yeah, in the arcade she met him. Geoff said and told him how it had been. The way Sophie earlier gave a detailed description of how she met Danny Casey, she gave the description to her brother Geoff, and Geoff now gave the same description to their father. Hearing this, the father said, one of these days you are going to talk yourself into a lot of trouble. Talk here means actually take. I told you earlier, this is the colloquial where they are speaking. The word talk should be take. One of these days you are going to talk yourself into a load of trouble. Her father said aggressively. Father became very angry. He said, if you continue telling these nonsense stories, then you will lead yourself to difficult situations. People will make fun of you. People will ridicule you, and then you will be in other difficult things. Other problems will come. If you continue doing such things, continue telling such nonsense stories. Sophie, when she found that her brother is supporting her, she said, Geoff knows this is true. Don't you, Geoff? But you may not believe it, father, but my brother Geoff, he knows it very well. Geoff knows it's true. Don't you, Geoff? He don't believe you, though he would like to. Geoff is telling his sister that father also, he doesn't believe you. Actually, it should be doesn't, but this is they're talking in colloquial where it is written. He don't believe you, though he would like to. He would like to believe it. He would be happy if it really happens. He would love to see his daughter in such a state, but he is not willing to believe it. By this, possibly the implication is that father also knows it very well that there is nothing true behind your story. So this kind of talk will continue, and I think we'll need some 2 more videos on this to end this story. So let us meet in the next video with some more description. Thank you very much.